My name is Peter Purich. As well as being a professional performing violinist and teacher, I'm also a luthier, violin maker, and I've been working in both fields for quite a number of years. These two interests of mine managed to coalesce into a very niche type of activity, which is custom making Chinrests for violinists and violists, specifically that are in pain, have pains in their shoulders or neck or wherever, or just simply uncomfortable. I started this, not surprisingly, when I first made a Chinrest for myself when I needed one, and then it evolved into making Chinrests for my friends, and then my interest in the ergonomics of playing the violin expanded the activity, and so that I started working on how to make the Chinrest more comfortable, and discovered that many violinists and violists were in fact uncomfortable. This really sparked a lifelong research project, if you will, and helping a lot of people to resolve these problems. Imagine that you only had 3 pairs of shoes for everybody in the world. Well, if you go to the violin shops and look for a Chinrest, it looks like you might have a choice of 25, but in fact it's like a few choices, and they come in 3 different colors, and they're roughly the same height, and so it really narrows down to maybe you have 3 choices effectively. So imagine if everybody in the world had the choice of only 3 pairs of shoes. Well, you get a small minority of people that were really comfortable, and the rest of them would adapt and probably be uncomfortable, in some cases painfully so. And this is what happens with violinists and violists. Because they have to play so many hours, like athletes, and practice, and for so many years, using equipment which maybe doesn't quite fit them. So I made my first Chinrest 40 some odd years ago, and I learned a lot from that first Chinrest, because I thought, why don't I make one carved exactly to my jaw? So I took a mold of my own jaw and I made a Chinrest exactly molded to that. So as soon as I put it on the violin and then moved my head, suddenly I realized it was not comfortable at all. I started this sort of searching as to what makes the perfect comfortable Chinrest. And then I discovered that you have to look at the function of the Chinrest. What is it supposed to do? And so essentially the Chinrest should be just sort of a hook under your jawbone that prevents the instrument from flying off your body. It's needed when the hand goes down in position and when one vibrates. So it has to be just enough to provide you with what you need in terms of support, but flexible enough to provide you movement, which is the healthy way to play. One thing we're trying to avoid is extreme rigidity in the posture when you play. And because if you rely too much on your neck and your jaw and your head to hold the instrument for 6-8 hours a day, this is over many years, and in some cases not even that many years, then you're going to have some serious problems. My clients range from very young teenagers that we can avoid having them stopping to play because they're in pain so much by just giving them the right setup, aligning them properly, and then letting them go. I've had clients with some severe injuries, such as fused vertebrae in the neck. They've had operations, maybe they had accidents where their collarbone has been broken. And the same things, I have clients which were in their senior years that have developing skeletal problems. I've had clients that are playing in professional opera orchestra, symphony orchestras, that just said to me, either I fix this now or I'm going to change careers. So in every one of these cases, we have to make sure that they're in the best possible position for their health, for their body, and with some special paraphernalia and Chinrest choice, we can get them back playing again. So when the client comes for the first time, I have to take a history to find out what's bothering them. We try to establish the most favorable position of the violin first. We take the chin rest and the shoulder rest off, and we establish the angle. And then we start trying different chin rests. I have a full selection, and we try one after the other and see which one is the most comfortable. As they play, I can tell with my ear which ones are more favorable. We still might not have the proper choice, but it's narrowed down. At that point, I'll go into the shop and start carving it out. So when I'm trying to find out what shape I have to make the chin rest, I have to take into many considerations the height of this section, the height of this section, or this section. So they all work in relation to each other, because if this is too high, then you're going to feel it in your throat. If this is too low, you're going to feel it in your throat. This section here, if it's too high, it's going to cut you at the back. So every little aspect has to be taken into consideration depending on the client's particular physical characteristics. Even though these little details brings you to a very reductionist approach, you have to look at the whole system, how it's involved, not just how it's contacting the person's jaw, but what their head does while they're playing. Also, what is supporting the instrument underneath, if anything at all. So and the techniques that the violinist has when they play, all this will have a factor in what the ultimate shape is. So it's not just looking at the little details, it's how they fit in the whole picture of things. So to that end, I can design and make special shoulder rest pads or other inventions that are required for either rehabilitation or just to make general playing a lot easier. A lot of the chin rests will be of a similar height in that mid-range, but we work with the extremes. So the people that need really low chin rests, I had to design a very flat and very streamlined tailpiece to go along with those very flat and low chin rests. In some cases, when people need very tall chin rests, a common problem is that you can't close the case on top of the instrument. In those cases, I devise a clip system whereby the top part of the chin rest comes off, and when you need it, you just clip it on and you're ready to go. I've also devised a special fitting chin rest. I can change the tilt of the top plate as much as I want. The top part is just a separate piece which comes off, held in place by magnets, and so I can then move it around and adjust the position. So it's a like one-stop, multi-adjustable chin rest. If I need to, I can just give it to the client for a week or two while they play around with it, because sometimes it takes a while to get to what a new position. You've been playing an old one for so many years that the new one, although it might be a healthier position, is not comfortable until you've actually tried it for a while. And finally, when they settle in on the position, they bring it back to me, and then we look at it and say, yeah, and then I go in, I make the final product for them. Working with all these violinists, whether they be young or old, experienced or not, amateur, professional, I find that everybody can get more comfortable. So my mission is to basically make every violinist and violist as comfortable as they can be so they can enjoy playing music.